Peace, grand evening, everyone. I am going to wait until a few people pop in. But today I wanted to talk about releasing and replenishing. So, what does releasing and replenishing look like for you? Babe, can you go turn on the Bluetooth? Click the Bluetooth button. I took some notes, of course, and I don't want to be long today, but I do want to give some good information because this week has literally been all about self-love and pouring back into myself. And I feel like I've been awakening to certain parts of me, like softer parts of me that has allowed me to be open and vulnerable to people very close and dear to me in my life, in my circle. And it was revealed to me where a lot of people stand in my life. So this whole week has been like crazy up and down, and I am grateful and blessed for each moment. So I feel things like this, waves of energies and waves of circumstances and situations come into your life in a place, especially when you are intentionally working on your healing. It's like challenges and pushes that come up to get you, like Satin said, to shift instead of, I forgot the word that she used, but we're pushing for shifting. And in shifting, like sometimes energy gets stuck, right? Like usually if we're dealing with an imbalance, it's because it's somewhere within our body that is stuck. Whether it's an emotion, whether it's a circumstance, whether it's a sickness, a disease, a mental illness. These are the things that are keeping us stuck and comfortable sometimes, because sometimes the things that we go through on a daily, like we're going through it so much, it's almost as if we're getting beat up by life. And it's like the small subconscious decisions that we make that lead us to ultimately beating up on ourselves. And physically, sometimes that manifests physically in, from others. Sometimes it manifests in the situations we get ourselves in, where we may seem hopeless at times or worthless, but it's really in those moments where we have to push through and shift and build on those challenges and not let it consume us and get the best of us. And I hope that's making sense for y'all, because this is what has been being revealed to me this whole week. In my time where I was supposed to be my happiest, or I planned this day in particular. I planned this day to, it was like a magical day for me. My shoot was a magical day for me, but even in the midst of that, I felt it was real dangerous because I was around rushing water. The day within itself was challenging, and even in something that was supposed to be really good for me ended up being like a dangerous day. But that's neither here or there. I took that day, instead of being sad, instead of letting it consume me, I took it and I utilized the energy and I transmuted it. I was surrounded by, in the midst of it, I noticed that I was surrounded by a lot of love. I noticed that I had a bigger tribe, a bigger support team than I thought. So this week, I basically just have been pouring into me, and also pouring into my surroundings, pouring into my friends, and I watch my friends pour and surrounded me as well. So it's like all this energy that I have been building up, all this energy that I have been moving despite the circumstances and the things that I've been going through. Even when I do my rituals, my yoga rituals, it's like sometimes I feel like it may not be working, but then it's like the unfolding begin to flourish, and sometimes that look like the end of the day, sometimes that look like a week, sometimes it look like 2 months, 3 months. So it's in the midst of the unfolding, in the push of the challenges that gets us to the shift. So let's get into the physical. I want to talk more about that because, my coaching is yoga, but I'm also a healer. So again, taking more time out for myself, my mind, my body, my spirit. Self-love is the key that fuels that. It's the key that governs the way you move in the world, in the way the world is moved by you. Peace, sis. Peace, LaQuinta. How do you feel about that? How are some ways you like to release the things that is no longer serving you in your body? And how do you replenish yourself? I want you to really think that, even if you don't drop in your answer below, I really want you to think about that. So too many times I feel we are weighed down by the things that is surrounding us. It could be our circumstances, our environments, the people we choose to surround ourselves with, and then our very own racing mind, our very own busy mind. And sometimes that feel heavy. Even the food we digest, sometimes we are digesting our emotions, and going back to comfort, food is very comforting for a lot of people. Sometimes cigarettes is comforting for a lot of people, but that don't always necessarily mean that that's the best thing for you, especially in that moment, in that time, especially if, like, say if your intention is to heal. If you are continually doing things that are disrupting your body, disrupting your mind, disrupting your healing process, like, are counterproductive to that of which you said you want, self-destructing behavior. And a lot of times it's just in our minds. We feel like we have all this stuff going on, right? All this stuff going on, like, it's so stressful. We shut down, we shut off, we deactivate, something within our mind, something within our DNA. We suppress it. So, and it really is just the racing thoughts that is creating the manifestations of the persona of being stuck. The persona of being in a cage. But honestly, when it's the times when we really sit in it, when we sit in those moments, when we sit in those emotions, when we feel those emotions, that's when things really begin to unlock and be revealed to us. I remember, and I don't know why I'm sharing this, but I remember the first time I was present in sex, a sexual intercourse, right? It was at a time when I was healing from a lot of stuff that I didn't even know I suppressed it until I came into a person where I felt safe with. And at that time, when we finally ran into that opportunity to express ourselves sexually, that's when I had a trauma that appeared literally in mid sex. Eyes closed, vision pops up, and I see the person who molested me. And at first, like going through counseling, like I was feeling like it was something. I'd never been to counseling before, but I was in a domestic abusive relationship, and I got out and I entered into a battered women's shelter, and this was like some years ago, but it was in that time I had predestined my healing. Like I didn't even realize I was in the midst of my healing, going through all of that. The challenges, I let a lot of my emotions block my decisions. I let a lot of emotion block the things that was really true, that was really in front of me. So even looking back and reflecting, I think like, wow, like in the midst of where I'm at now and the challenges that I feel that I have, or the challenge that I feel I'm in now, it's like, you're good. You're just going through the emotions. You're just experiencing it. It's just another challenge, another shift that is about. And I can only be grateful, especially in the midst of now, and the midst of healing, in the midst of rituals. And not only my rituals, but I'm surrounded by my friends and loved ones and associates who love to ritual, who love to be intentional. And again, this is that generator, that generating force, that will that we have behind us. And when one person is in agreement, when you are in agreement with yourself and your oversoul, you're good. But when two or three or multiple people are in agreement, I think one of the sis, Faith, she said in one of her posts that she began chanting, and I think she said she was chanting with a group, and then I believe she said with her child later on. And it's just like, that's beautiful, because when a force is behind your agreement, it's like things effortlessly happen. Things, like she said, it's a quantum leap. And I've known that in times of meditation and group meditations, sister circles, and I have been blessed enough to be in a few sister circles. And actually today, which is a really great day to draw in that energy, right? I'll be with a few of my sisters, just being there for a sis in a healing circle. And the reason why I say this and I bring this up, and it's all tied together, because sometimes in the times where we feel alone the most is maybe sometimes when we need to reach out to someone that you may not even have known would have been there or been the way they're there for you now. Whoever that's for, don't be ashamed. Don't suppress. Don't hold, what it is that you're going through. Reach out to someone, because I'm 10 times out of 10 is someone going through exactly what you're going through, and they have actually, in fact, a word for you. But it's not until you align your mind, body, and soul to an agreement, will it into an agreement, and then that energy, that push, that force will come. And that's the beauty in the unfolding, the beauty in the journey, and the beauty in the healing.